iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back here, race fans, to the South Boston Speedway here tonight for the virtual SOBO 300. Back in the booth here, my name is Roger Muse, and alongside me it's still Al Smith and David Whirl. This is the second portion of the evening. We just had the street stocks out on the track for our Left Turn Promotion Street Stock Series, which went to the driver of the 51 of James Curl. Now we're here with the Barber Ford late models as we get ready to go into our qualifying session. Al, we had a great race a little while ago, but now it's a whole new ballgame. These drivers are going to swap into these late models to try their hand this time.
They are. We're going to get ready to do some qualifying here. We see 20 drivers lining up on pit road, Roger, for their single car qualifications coming on up. And we're going to see who's going to be the fastest driver out there in the Barber Ford late models in a moment's time. But we saw great action if you were with us just a little bit about an hour ago with the Left Turn Promotion Street Stocks race. James Curl holding off the number 2 of Lamb for what was an exciting photo finish, and I expect to see more of the same in here with the Barber Ford late models.
Roger, go ahead, Dave. I was going to say these drivers have been preparing.
I was going to say, I'm interested to see which one of these drivers makes the transition out of those street stock cars, low on horsepower, a little bit lighter, onto these heavier late models, more horsepower. Who's going to be able to put down the power on these corner exits and not have any problems? Very long race for these drivers here.
It will be a very long race. First, we got to get through the qualifying process here tonight. All these drivers will start to line themselves up. We will have 2 laps of qualifying here for each driver. If my math was right, we had just over 20 drivers log in here to the virtual South Boston Speedway as we look down upon this beautiful track. This track is going to transition also from daytime to possibly a cooler evening time when we get to the end of that. And Al, you're the short track resident around here. Temperature, especially here in qualifying, daytime, open setups? How is that going to change once we go racing?
I think it's going to matter of whether these drivers that are on, pit road waiting for their time to go out there, if they can catch a cloud could be worth, anywhere from a half tenth to a tenth. If they're going to be early on in the session, do they pump up their air pressures before they roll down here on pit road? Opens up, there's a lot more control of what the car will do that these drivers will have, but it all will come down to whether or not they can put the power to the South Boston surface. The track temperature, we could see it up and down, Roger. And as you know, cooler temperatures mean faster times. The hotter temperatures mean you got to slicks off a little bit. It's going to see who has got the magic setup in qualifying coming up here shortly.
The drivers currently still lining themselves up. And while we have a second here, race-ins, we got to thank you, the viewers, all tuning in here tonight. If you're watching on our Facebook live feed or whether you're watching over on our Turn 3 Racing Network YouTube feed, we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in here tonight. Who's your favorite driver, though? There's drivers like Corey Dunn, Peyton Sayers, Ryan Joyner, Devin Shorter, Kenny Lang is here, Trayton Lapsovich is here, Scott Lamp is back. The G-Man, Guillaume Fortin is here, Dylan Canova, James Curl, who just won the Street Stock event, Daniel Williamson, Colby Bryant. There are drivers all over this list, drivers that come from all over the country. We did touch on it a little bit earlier, how a lot of these drivers are from the Virginia area. Of course, South Boston Speedway being down here in Virginia. And here's a tidbit of information. Dave, you're one of those NASCAR guys that tend to play on the bigger oval side of things. Can you tell me who is the owner of the South Boston Speedway? I threw this one out at Al the other day when we actually were here virtually at the South Boston Speedway.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot and make me look pretty bad here. I'm not actually sure. I would probably say maybe Rusty Wallace or something like that.
Well, Al, is he close on this one? Did the dart even go near the board?
I don't think so. I think maybe the tip fell off.
Dart, I think they call that the dart without feathers pretty much. But Dave, actually, the NASCAR side of things, one of our home tracks to the Turn 3 Racing Network, the Pocono International Raceway, the owners of Pocono actually own the South Boston Speedway. So there's your tidbit of information here tonight as these drivers still start to line themselves up. We got to thank everybody, not only that's tuning in here tonight, but we also got to thank Swag, Smith Wraps and Graphics. They do banners, they do checks, they do it all for all you race fans. Make sure to go over to Facebook.com, give them a like, or check them out at swagwrapsonline.com. We got to thank Accelerated Motorsports for their continued support with the series. The American iRacing League, also one of those short track series that races here on iRacing. Apex Racing. Tonight's sponsor for the late model portion is brought to us by our friends over at Barber Ford. You need a new Ford to haul your racing rig to the racetrack? Well, look no farther than Barber Ford. BK Paints, established back in 2013, painting everything from NASCAR 2003 all the way to running iRacing. Head on over there today. Also got to thank DWR Designs. Rocket Racing Setups. They were our setups for our street stock division that we just had a little bit of go. And, of course, Eddie Performance and Solutions. iRacing, short track esports. That is who is putting this event on here tonight. We thank them. And, of course, Max Pappas Innovations having some great gifts for these drivers also. Reaper Speed Labs, they are the Fast Time Award here tonight. We'll get our second Fast Time in a little while. State Building Company, 60 years of innovation. And, of course, our caution sponsor, our replay sponsor here tonight, 09 Race Shop. And, of course, our friends back over at Swag, they also got a couple drivers here. It's the Swag Motorsports e-racing team also coming on board. So we're getting ready to go qualifying here tonight at the South Boston Speedway. Just a couple more of these drivers really getting themselves lined up before we go green flag for qualifying. Each driver will have 2 laps. Dave, tonight, short track racing. Is it going to mean you need to have a good starting spot here tonight because it's 200 laps?
Well, judging off what we've seen there in the street stock race that we had just about an hour ago, the track position very big here. So look for these drivers to go out there and absolutely try to walk away with a provisional pole, try to put this thing at the front of the field. Still a very long race, 200 laps for these drivers. Stage break about the midway point so you can come and get fuel. No tires. So again, the tire wear and the tire usage, how these drivers are able to maintain those tires throughout their runs is going to be very key. And I think if you're at the front of the field, you can be a little bit easier on those tires. You can conserve them a little bit more. Starting from the back of the field, you're going to have to put the hammer down and try to make your way up through the field. So you're going to use those tires just a little bit. Al, with you being the short track guy, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that.
No, I think you're absolutely right on point with that. And 200 laps on the same set of tires. So if you have a bad qualifying attempt here, which will be ready to go as the last couple cars getting pointed in their right position here on pit road, if you get a bad qualifying time, you're going to have to use those tires up a little bit harder than, say, someone that's going to start inside the first 4 or 5 rows. It's going to be very important here. No sets of tires in the pits. They're going to have a halfway break here where they can put fuel in the car if they need to. But officials, only one set of those Hoosier Racing tires available for these race teams, so they're being a little cost effective as we come out of the COVID pandemic. Is that hopefully is winding up here, but a nice packed grandstands, packed pits here at the South Boston Speedway as we get ready to go with our qualifying here, which will be very short. Car number 16 of Alexander Saavedra is going to be the first car out, Roger. And I think the last couple cars getting pointed in the right direction. A couple last-minute sign-ins at the pit gate, and I think they're going to get tagged in at the end.
So we will see who will be able to click off their fast time here tonight for the Reaper Speed Labs Fast Time Award. Alexander should be coming up here in just a couple of seconds, so we'll see if he can put it up there. Al over here showing us our notes, pointing at the virtual notepad as we do have all the drivers lined up currently. Waiting to see Alexander hammer down here. Qualifying is going to be probably right around the bottom groove here tonight at the South Boston Speedway. You probably won't see too many drivers start to venture top side early on anyway. What we will see, though, when they do come out here for qualifying is you're probably going to see them jump right out onto the track, go right up against the South Boston banner there out of turn number 2, ride the high side down turn 2. Into turn 3, you're really going to see him hit the high side. Something I don't know, Al, is if we're going to see that slow first lap before we see one of these drivers hammer in. We have seen that with these late models a time or two.
Yeah, and when you see that happening, Roger, what it is the drivers are trying to take and not put as much heat as possible into these tires. The slower you go, the less heat that'll go, less tire spin coming up to speed. So that is the reason that you see drivers go a little bit slow on their qualifying, coming out up to green. But once you get out of turn number 4, it'll be the green flag here. And taking a look here at the real world side of South Boston Speedway, the late model stock car track record holder is Peyton Sellers at a 14,676, which is an average speed of 119 miles an hour. That was held back on March 16th, 2019. So we'll see how the virtual late model stocks stack up against that track record time. Maybe we'll see a new track record virtually here for tonight's main event here. The Barber Ford late models get ready to go with their qualifying sessions.
Dave, I think you went about 112 miles an hour at one point in your life, didn't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was not on a speedway or a raceway, and unfortunately, having to pay a little bit more than some of these drivers may be paying for their tires.
Well, Dave, next time it says 55, the speed limit would be 55. Hate to tell you. I know these drivers aren't going to be going 55, but one of those late entries that did just get signed in here, it looks like... believe that might be the 926, if I'm seeing that correctly, pull around on our timing and scoring, that he did just register his transponder. And, yeah, I believe that is the 926.
Yeah, looks like he'll be our first qualifier right now. 20 cars ready to take green flag. I am not 100% sure, but I believe maybe the number 4 of Kyle Klingerpeel is an admin here, Roger. I lost my notes of who's in charge of everything up here in the booth and Well, you know how that goes. You had me down there trying to get some of that South Boston track food for you, and I came up, and, well, my papers were blown away.
Yeah, and all you brought me were Twizzlers, so thanks for that one. Next time we're sending Dave down there. We're sending the new guy down for food next time. But it does look like we're going to get our first qualifying driver out onto the speedway here. I am being told and passed along by the officials that the track is officially clear, and we're going to send the first car here in just a moment, race fans. So thanks for hanging in as we got a little bit of a delayed start here. We know it's raining at the Bristol Motor Speedway, but one of the greatest things about iRacing is there is no rain in the forecast. The only thing that might come is a couple clouds over the speedway, and I'm sure drivers are going to want to see some cloud cover when it comes time for them to pull their Barber 4 late model out onto the speedway. Dave, are you ready to go qualifying here? Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready.
I think I'm ready, but I'm not quite sure. I'm really wondering what these drivers are going to be able to do out there with the track temperature sitting just about 95 degrees, a little bit slicker than or hotter than what we've seen earlier here today. So should be a little bit slicker. I'm looking to see if some of these drivers don't kick a little sideways coming onto these corner exits.
So it does look like first car out onto the speedway is starting to roll, and this is the BAM Speed RC driver out of Austintown, Ohio. This is the 926 of Jacob. I'm going to say F before I butcher this. I don't want to be the guy to butcher that last name, but Jacob, first driver out here tonight on our qualifying session. He's going to try to take the Reaper Speed Labs pole award here tonight. Going to be a rough one as he is the first driver out onto the track. Let's see his first timed lap as he comes across the timing and scoring. That is a 15.29 2-second lap as he runs the inside. Little bit of a bobble that time out of turn number 2 as he goes down the back straightaway, and it looks like he has a little bit of connection issues with the iRacing.com server, but he'll bring his Barber Ford late model across the stripe, and it looks like lap number 1 for the driver out of Ohio will be his fast time tonight.
Waiting for the next driver to come on out of the racetrack. It looks like it should be car number 16. I see him rolling down pit road right now. I had to do a reset possibly, and it is car number 16 out onto the racetrack as they roll down the backstretch. This driver in the Micro Center, Sebworks Racing out of Silver Spring, Maryland. This is Alexander Saavedra. The hill right down there painting the bottom of the racetrack, looking to beat a 15.92. His fast time so far in our qualifying session. Off of turn number 4, he'll get the white flag. First lap into the books, and it is going to be good enough for second place. 16.11 seconds here for Saavedra as he works down into turn number 3 for the final time. Off of turn number 4, checkered flag will be up. And lap number 2 is going to be a little bit quicker with a 16.05.
Our next driver begins to roll off of pit road now. The 08 of Peyton Sayers out on the track. Sayers trying to get his Raise Energy sponsored late model up into the top spot, already with some trouble. A little bit sideways there on the throttle. Going to come around, take the green flag for his first time lap. Roger, I'm noticing these drivers are all using that low lane early here, trying to put down their fast time. Surprised that none of these drivers are up there running that wall just yet, as we spoke about. Going to cross the line this first time by. Going to put down a 15.97. That's going to be good enough for second, but will he be able to take that top spot away from that 9.26? Sayers back through the corner, coming back to the stripe for the final time. Where's he going to slot in? Speed chart says, stopwatch says, quick time, 15.91 for Peyton Sayers.
So a new quick time there for Peyton Sayers. He'll take that Raise Energy Drink Barber Ford to the top of the speed charts for the time being. Next driver coming out is the driver of the number 22. He is out of Roanoke, Virginia, racing for the S&S Motorsports team. This is the S&S Motorsports number 22 of Devin Shorter. Shorter has officially come across the timing and scoring, so he will be our next driver to put in a lap. That first lap did not count there for the driver of that number 22. So we'll see this lap now as he comes across the start-finish line. That's his first official timed lap, and that's going to be a new quick time, lap number 1. The 22 of Devin Shorter to the top of the board with a 15.82 second, as lap number 2 is going to be pretty much a throw it away. The Trailer Town USA entry will now come across the line. Going to be quite a bit slower, 17.3 for his second lap there for Devin Shorter. So he'll set the quick time right now is Devin Shorter.
Next driver to come out of the racetrack, just rolling down pit road. Here is the car number 17, the Crystal Auto Body out of Loves Park, Illinois. This is Nick Ryberg. Ryberg in car number 17, getting off a turn number 2. Had to do a quick reset down here on the pit lane, and he's pointed in the right direction up there, trying to get the momentum built up off of turn number 4. He'll see the green flag, so he is officially on the clock, and down to the turn number 1. Rayberg will go down low, now work down the back stretch, working to the outside, right down that yellow painted line. And as you'll notice, these cars will get faster as they are lined up based on how they practiced here tonight. First lap for the Rayberg, car number 17, second quick with a 15.83. Second quick for Rayberg as he works down the backstretch for the final time. Off of turn number 4, shooting the knock Shorter off of the provisional pole. Can he do it? He will not. He does. New quick time, 15.77 for the driver out of Loves Park, Illinois, Nick Rayberg, your new Barber Ford late model provisional pole sitter so far in qualification.
Now that 90 of Colby Bryant takes his Barber Ford's late model out on the track. We've seen quick time after quick time out of the last 3 drivers. Will this 90 machine out of Troutville, Virginia be able to take that quick time here once again? Will we see the shuffleboard continue to happen at the top? Goes to the top of the speedway, one of the first drivers to go to the top of the speedway. 90 now all over that yellow line, dipping those left sides. Oh, and around he goes. Crash here in qualifying. That is not a good look. He's going to end up back out onto pit road into his box. We'll have to wait to see how all that gets shaken out here, Roger.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to come back out here and set down another lap here with that Caterpillar Napa number 90 for Bryant. Right now, he is being scored back into the 6th position as he was the 6th car rolled out onto the speedway. Next driver out, driver the number 25. It does look like he is rolling. The driver out of Rocky Mountain, Virginia, racing for the Rocket Racing Setups, number 25. This is Jonathan Hall in the number 25. Look to see a quick time here out of this driver. He had a good street stack race just a couple moments ago, and now he is here to try and take the Barber Ford late model to the top of the leaderboards. Very close to that outside wall out of turn number 2, and he's actually going to slide it through 3 and 4. Lap number 1 not going to be quick time, I can tell you that. Let's see if the old stopwatch, as I'm correct there, 3rd quickest. It looked like he just gave up too much time down there in turn 3. And now he'll scrape the wall down the back straightaway this time, trying to use up all the track that he can. Jonathan Hall this time out of turn number 4 for the final time as he comes across the line. It'll be 15.90 for Jonathan Hall, so lap number 1 will be his scored lap time.
Next car rolling down the backstretch, the Rocket Racing Setups, FSN Customs out of Mulberry, Florida. It's car number 70. This is Dylan Canova. Canova, the hot shoe on the racetrack. He'll slap the gas in the turn number 1, a little bit above that yellow line, getting that car to rotate nice in square off of turn number 2. And the turn number 3, lap number 1 for Canova. Where will it put him? It looks like a good lap off turn number 4. Lap number 1 for Canova is fast time with a 15.74. 15.74 for Canova. Will lap number 2 be a little bit better? This time a little bit sideways in 3 and 4. He's just going to roll across the line. But Canova, your new Barber Ford provisional pole sitter, with the next driver getting ready to roll on out. But Dylan Canova setting a blistering time of 15.74.
The 42 Carolina SimWorks Rocket Racing Setups machine out on the track for his first qualifying attempt. Can Richard Allen go up there and take that top spot away? Gonna cross the line to begin lap number 1. Ducks down to the bottom of the speedway. We've seen multiple drivers doing that all over that yellow line. Exit of 2. Back right out next to that outside ball Ford Fusion nose on the front of this machine is something a little bit different out there. I believe he's one of the only Fusion sporting front ends out there in the field, and he goes quick time, top of the speed charts, 15:65 so far, and that is quite a big jump from the rest of the field. Off of turn 4, second time lap crossing the line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. Second time lap, just a tenth slower, but still, your pole sitter right now, the 42 of Richard Allen.
That was a very quick time set there by the driver of that 42. Next driver out, the driver out of Roanoke, Virginia, driving the Accelerated Motorsports Rocket Racing setup number 63. This is Kenny Lang, as he'll now come across the start-finish line. He will be our 10th fastest driver of the evening. As he works down the back straightaway, his Camaro for that Accelerated Motorsports group is going to see if he can take the quick time. He has the same setup, I'm being told, inside that 63 as it does in the 42 of Richard Allen. It's going to be good enough for the 5th quickest time. It is a 15.82-second lap for Kenny Lang. He'll work his way through turns 3 and 4 for the final time here on his qualifying attempt. And let's see, lap number 2, a little bit slower, so lap number 1 will hold for his top time here tonight.
Next driver out onto the speedway is going to be rolling off pit road right now in the Harrison Workwear Rocket Racing Setups Accelerated Motorsports out of Huntersville, North Carolina. This is Preston McGee. McGee working the high side of the racetrack. He'll get that Hopkins lumber up to speed. Green flag is out. Lap number 1 underway. Up the racetrack a little bit in the middle of turns 1 and 2. The sun shining down. See how slick it is. Track temperature still at the 97-degree mark. A little bit slippery off of turn number 4. Lap number 1 for the 87 of McGee is going to be good enough for 6 quick with a 15.86. 15.86 for the number 87 of McGee. Lap number 2, this time off turn number 4. Will it be better? We'll find out. Here he crosses the stripe. And it is quicker with a 15.77. Third quick for McGee after lap number 2. So McGee, the driver out of Huntersville, North Carolina, will slot into your 3rd spot.
Next driver out onto the speedway, driving the number 7. This looks like it is going to be the number 7 of Tony McGuire. He has the Accelerated Autos or Motorsports on this car also. So let's see where Tony McGuire will slide himself in. Lap number 1 for McGuire. He's going to go 5th quickest with his number 7. And it looks like possibly going to shut her down after just one timed lap. Actually, he's back into it. Let's see. Maybe he's got something here. He'll just come across the line. He'll just go with lap number 1. So a 15.81 second lap for Tony McGuire.
Next driver out onto the speedway will be car number 114. The driver out of the WIS Transport LLC Accelerated Motorsports out of Freedom, Wisconsin. This is Aaron Wisniewski. Wisniewski in car number 114 up onto the racetrack next. Lurking lap number 1, this time off turn number 4 for that Chevrolet. Let's see where Wisniewski will slide in after lap number 1. Second quick with a 15.65. 15.65 for Wisniewski in lap number 1. Lap number 2 is going to come off turn number 4. Will it be any better for the 114? And it is not. 1579 for lap number 2 for Wisniewski. He'll slide into that number 2 position.
Next driver off of pit road and onto the track for his qualifying attempt, Ryan Joyner in the 15 out of Lukema, North Carolina, the KW Locksmith Barber Ford late model out there. A little bit slow on his up to speed lap here, going to cross the line to begin his first timed lap. We've seen multiple drivers with that first lap being the quick lap So we have to see whether or not that trend continues here. Track temperature doesn't look like it's changing on us too much. So all of these drivers pretty much on equal playing fields. 15 gonna cross the stripe. First time lap, quick time for Joyner, top of the speed charts, 15:64. Second time lap, can he improve? Can he do what not very many drivers have been able to do here tonight, Roger? Can he go quicker on the second time lap? Looking at the stopwatch, doesn't look like he's going to. Gonna fall short just by a few hundredths, but still, quick time belongs to Ryan Joyner.
So Ryan Joyner sets a new quick time here in our qualifying session. That is good enough to put him, well, P number 1. Next driver out onto the speedway, he drives the number 2 out of Davidson, Michigan, the Accelerated Motorsports Rocket Racing Setups Eddie Performance number 2. This is Scott Lamp. Lamp officially on the clock here tonight to see if he can take the Reaper Speed Labs Quick Time Award. As he works down the back straightaway, his Camaro looks pretty glued down to the bottom. You can pick out all those Accelerated Motorsports cars here tonight. All of them may have different front fascias here with the late model, but you can tell them by their colors and numbers on the side as they all match with those neon green numbers. And of course, the blue on the side of the cars also. Scott Lamp was 5th quickest on lap number 1. That was a 15.75. Lap number 2 going to go for the driver of the 2. A little bit quicker. It's going to be a 15.70 for the driver of the number 2.
Next driver rolling off a pit road in the Racing Designs, the program sponsored number 13 out of Quebec, Canada. This is Guillaume Fortin. Guillaume Fortin in car number 13. Rolling out onto the racetrack. He'll get the green flag this time off turn number 4. Fortin, known really well around the short track ranks in the iRacing service, as they work down the backstretch for the first time. Car looked really good in turn 1 and 2. Up the racetrack, a little bit of a slide in turns 3 and 4. Lap number 1 for Fortin is going to go 11th quick, 15.84 on lap number 1 for Fortin. They'll see if he can pick it up a little bit here in turns 3 and 4. Last time by, a little bit of slide. This car looks a lot better off of turn number 4. Fortin, and on lap number 2, he's going to slide the 6th quick with a 15.74. So Guillaume Fortin, the driver out of Quebec, Canada, will slide into 6th so far in Reaper Speed Lab pole qualifying.
We'll now see if the Hannibasson Rowe sponsored Barber Ford late model out of the Accelerated Motorsports stable, Salem, Virginia's very own Corey Dunn. We've seen him struggle a little bit earlier here today in the street stock race. Started towards the front of the field, dropped back as that race unfolded. Again, he put this Camaro up there at the front once again in qualifying off of 4, crossing the stripe. First time lap goes on the speed charts for Dunn. Where's he cross in at? Ooh, looks like he may have caught the wall there. That lap not allowed, so he's going to have to get it all here on this second time lap off of turn number 4, coming back to the stripe. Oh, in contact with the wall again, and Dunn going to be forced to start from the rear of the field, not getting a qualifying lap in.
Well, that's going to be disappointing for him. Next driver out onto the speedway. Looks like he drives the number 32. He hails out of Canada. It's Grimsby, Ontario, Canada. The Legacy Esports Reaper Speed Labs, number 32. This is Trayton Lapsovich in the number 32 here tonight. Every time this young man unloads off the trailer, he is ready to go as soon as he slaps the old helmet on. And tonight, expect none other. Lapsovich to come across the line in his 32. It'll be quick enough for 4th quickest lap number 1, and he's just going to shut it down right there. 1 and done for Trayton Lapsovich. That's all he had in the 32. Legacy Esports Reaper Speed Labs, number 32.
Next driver rolling down the backstretch down the Bullet. Burgers and More Rocket Racing, Accelerated Motorsports, car number 55 out of Roanoke, Virginia. This is Daniel Williamson is going to work down the turn number 1, and he'll get the green flag. First lap down the backstretch. It looks very good so far. Car planted very nice in 1 and 2. A little bit of a slide in 3 and 4 for that Pontiac. Off of turn number 4. White flag is out, and new quick time for Daniel Williamson, a 15.57, and he will shut it down here, roll across the line to get the checkered flag a little bit loose off of turn number 2. But the fastest lap of the session in Reaper Speed lap pole qualifying goes to the 55 of Daniel Williamson, with the last car rolling off to pit road now.
James Curlin at 51, the driver that went to victory lane in the left turn promotion street stock race that we had just about an hour ago. The only driver that's going to be able to get that Accelerator Motorsports clean sweep award if he can walk away with a race win here. Where can this driver put that 51? Williston's, Florida's very own, crossing the line. Where's he go? Second with the first time lap, 15:58, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and shut it on down. That was very close, down to the hundredths, separating first and second here, as Curl going to go ahead and just bring it back down to pit road, happy with a second place starting position.
So that looks like that's going to do it here for qualifying tonight. That's going to put the driver of that 55 of Daniel Williamson. He will pick up the Reaper Speed Labs pole award here tonight. So he's already ahead of the ball game here tonight for the Barber Ford late model show coming up in just a couple of seconds. Let's take a quick look here. Take a look on the left-hand side. 19 drivers did get credited with a time here tonight in our qualifying session, and that will put us with 21 drivers tonight to make the field.
News
that will
down
make
on
the
pit
field,
road,
I should
Roger.
say.
I was going to say, down here on pit road, I would like to say that the number 90 of Colby Bryant, they have pulled the backup car out. He will start 19th on the grid here tonight, but that Caterpillar Napa automobile will be in tonight's show for you race fans out there. They were able to, they looked it over, bent the rear clip on that number 90, Roger, pretty good, so they had to go to the backup car.
So they're going to the backup car. Corey Dunn, they're just going to massage the fender out. He'll still have to start at the tail of the field here tonight. But while we have about a 5-minute intermission here before we go racing tonight, race fans, we're going to take a quick step away. We're going to get the national anthem played, and we will be back here for the Barber Ford late model main event here from the South Boston Speedway. James Curl and Daniel Williamson will be on the front row when we go racing just after this.
So proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back here, race fans, to the South Boston Speedway for the Barber Ford Late Model Stock event here tonight from the South Boston Speedway. The whole weekend brought to us by our friend Billy Smith over at Swag, but they are starting to assemble down trackside here tonight. Our Reaper Speed Lab Pole Award goes to Daniel Williamson, so we already know he'll start on the front row here tonight, but let's take a look at the rest of our starting lineup here tonight. Starting on the front row here tonight in our main event, it is going to be the driver of the 55. This is Daniel Williamson. Starting at his outside, it's the team car, the driver of the number 51 here tonight. He won the street stock portion presented by Left Turn Promotions. This will be the 51 of James Curl. The number 15 of Ryan Joyner will roll off third here tonight, and right alongside him, the 42 of Richard Allen. Driving the 114 here tonight, he'll start third row. First car to the inside, well, I guess that would only make sense. It's going to be the 114 of Aaron Wizinski. Starting in the 6th position, driving out of Canada, driving the Reaper Speed Labs, number 32, this is Trayton Lapsovich. Starting the number 2 in the 7th position, this is going to be Scott Lamp, who had a great run in the street stock portion, and looking to back that up here in the late model. Driving the number 70, it's going to be Dylan Canova starting in 8th, and it's going to be the G-Man, the 09 Motorsports, number 13, Guillaume Fortin. Rounding out the top 10, it's going to be the driver of the 87. This is Preston McGee.
Starting 11th on tonight's grid out of Love Park, Illinois, it'll be Nick Rayberg in car number 17. To his outside, the car number 7, that is Tony McGuire. Tony McGuire in car number 7. Starting on the inside of row number 7 will be car number 22 out of Roanoke, Virginia, the SNS Motorsports sponsored automobile. This is Devin Shorter. Kenny Lang in car number 63 will roll off in the 14th spot. Starting 15th will be car number 25, looking for the home state bragging rights here tonight. It is the number 25 of Jonathan Hall. Jonathan Hall will roll off 15th. 16th starting spot will be car number 08. That is Peyton Sayers. Sayers in the Raz Energy automobile will start 16th. Jacob Feskin in car number 926 will start in the 17th spot. Outside of him, his dancing partner will be car number 16. That is Alexander Saavedra. Starting 19th on the grid will be car number 90. That is Colby Bryant. Bryant in car number 90. He'll roll off 19th. Then starting 20th on tonight's grid in out of Salem, Virginia, in the Accelerated Motorsports Hannibas in row, car number 75. This is Corey Dunn. Corey Dunn will roll off 20th, and shotgun on the field in car number 4. That is Kyle Klingenpeel. That is our 21 starting grid here tonight, Roger and Dave. And we got 200 laps of action. No tires in the pits. What is it going to take to be number 1 at the end of this race here tonight and pull in to the Per Year Racing victory lane here on the front stretch at the South Boston Speedway?
Well, the thing that you're going to have to do, Al, is you're going to first have to get through the Rocket Racing chassis green flag here tonight for those 200 laps in our Barber Ford late model stock event. Then, well, we're going to have to make sure we stay away from those Eddie Performance caution lights, and because we don't want to see the 09 replay have to come out here tonight. Of course, all those are sponsors here tonight of this main event. All the cars are on the grid, though, race fans. We are getting ready to kick it off. 200 laps here from the virtual South Boston Speedway. Formation lap. Everybody's ready to go. 2 laps, Dave, before we go green here. What's your outlook here at South Boston?
Well, I'm looking for a good, clean race by a lot of these drivers. All of them were able to put down their qualifying laps with fair amount of ease. A few drivers had a little bit of troubles. Colby Bryant, Corey Dunn back there, tail end of the field, 19 and 20th on the starting grid. They're going to look to try to make their way back up through the field, but how are they going to manage those tires on that run to the front? That's going to be key. And will we see Curl go back to victory lane? Can he take that Accelerated Motorsports Clean Sweep Award? That's something I'm looking forward to as well. He's the only driver in the field that can do it, and we get set to go around one more time before we fire it off.
It'll be Curl, it'll be Williamson, Joyner, and Allen, your front 2 rows here tonight at South Boston. The whole event brought to us by our friends at Swag. They're creating the check right now. We'll see who's going to go to victory lane tonight. 200 laps on the board. We are green flag racing here tonight.
Williamson going to lead down off of turn number 2, but here comes James Curl working the outside of the speedway. Up there in no man's land, we're going to see that lane come in a little bit later on as their track will warm up, but it'll be Williamson leading lap number 1. Here comes Joyner in at number 15. He's going to take that number 2 spot away from Curl as they work down the backstretch. We look off the right rear quarter panel of the 55, but Williamson looking back at that battle. Here comes the 114 of Wisniewski. He works to the outside of the 42 of Allen, but they get all sides about a single file. Your first 6 cars. We're going to go back to the 7th spot where Scott Lamp and Dylan Canova battle it out for that 6th or 7th position in the turn number 3.
Yeah, multiple drivers still out there battling for their position on the bottom of the speedway right now. You can see a few of the drivers up there on that high side. Nick Thornborg, one of those drivers out there stuck on the high side, and another driver with trouble once again. Colby Bryan had a little bit of an issue. He is well off of the pace now, over 9 seconds behind your race leader, Ryan Joyner, and it looks like that inside lane is the preferred lane here. We'll have to wait to see if that's the case after the track gets rubbered up, as we are already clicking them off at a very fast pace, coming across the line to take lap number 6 out of the 200 scheduled here today.
Just a little bit ago, it looked like Daniel Williamson slid up the track a little bit in his Pontiac. That allowed the 15, the youngster Ryan Joyner, to slip by for the race lead. He has lived the last 2 laps here, as this is the completion of lap number 6. So 2 race leaders so far, with Daniel Williamson starting on the pole, leading the first 2 laps, and Ryan Joyner squeaking on by, but they're still stacked up back here side by side. That's the number 2 of Scott Lamp that's working the inside of the speedway. Dylan Canova on the outside, and now here comes the number 13 of Gil Thornton. 2 Canadian drivers riding side by side here tonight at the virtual South Boston Speedway. The outside lane just does not seem to be there just yet for these drivers. Still a very, very long race to go. The program, 09 Motorsports, number 13, Guillaume G-Man, the money man, trying to make his way to the front here. That's just no man's land right now out there. That 70 of Canova's got to get to the bottom.
Yeah, you got to be worried right now if you are that driver, the number 70 of Canova. How much of those tires are you burning up on the outside of the racetrack? Try to get down in front of the 17 of Ryberg. Ryberg says, I'm sorry, you're stuck to the outside. As Canova still battles to the outside right now, trying to make up some ground. He'll run side by side with Thornton. Those 2 drivers are very well known to each other. They run in multiple leagues on the iRacing service. as they know each other's tendencies. They still battle side by side. This is the best battle on the racetrack right now. Canova really starting to make it move up the racetrack, though, making a little bit of a contact in turn number 4. Now Canova trying to slide it back in the line, but he is on the wrong side of that battle right now. Ryburn might cut him a break right here, and he'll be able to get down in line. The contact, bumper contact in turn 4.
Bumper cars out there on the speedway, and contact once again into that left rear quarter. The 70 almost goes around. He's going to be able to corral it and keep himself right there in front of Ryberg, still just behind him. Those drivers mixing it up just a little bit of an accordion effect. Getting into turn number 1, a lap to go between all those drivers stacked up now. Canova is stuck on that high side once again and dropping yet another spot. And it looks like, Roger, he is the only one that is out there on that high side. Now he's going to be able to fall in line, so it's a long train of cars, all single file around the bottom at South Boston.
Yeah, Canova did try to work his way through the field, and it was working for him, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. Remember, 200 laps here tonight at South Boston. 200 laps. We have at least one caution flag that we do know of, but there are no extra tires in the pits. These short track racers, they claim to be some of the best short track racers, not just on iRacing, but from all around the world. Well, tonight, with no tires in the pits, Dylan Canova had to slide a couple times at number 70, so we will see if he wore the tires just a little bit too much here in the early portions of this lap. Not even a quarter of the way, not even close to that quarter of the way into this one. Dylan Canova finds himself 2 spots behind where he started now. He is now back into the 10th spot. He's got Preston McGee behind him. Tony McGuire is right there in the number 7 also. And Kenny Lang currently sitting in that 13th position. Devin Shorter, though, the Trailer Town USA, number 22 of Shorter. He is back here running in 19th. He has had some major issue with that right front. This looks like one of those Northeast asphalt modifieds right now for that 22 of Devin Shorter, because it is shortened up on that right front. It is poking out. The hood is crinkled up.
And just 2 laps to go. Tough break for Shorter, but up at the front of this one, Williamson has gotten by Joyner 3 laps ago, was getting the pressure. Joyner pulled to the inside and said, all right, Mr. Williamson, you go ahead and take the race lead, and well, maybe I'll learn a little bit here. We saw Joyner take the race lead on lap 4, gives it up on lap 18, is now Williamson now starting to stretch his legs right now out of the front of this with the Rocket chassis number 55 as they work lap number 20 down the back stretch. But Roger, these drivers starting to get into a rhythm, and I think that's a smart move here early on, is if you're starting to get pressure, well, you might want to just get out of the way and save your car for a little bit later on in this race. It doesn't pay right now. It pays in about 180 laps.
180 laps. Yeah, I was going to say, Dave, 180 laps, that's a very long time. What's your mindset right now at this portion of this race?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're right there, Al. I think that 15, just seeing that Williamson was just a little bit faster here in the early portion of this run on these fresher tires right now. So just wanting to take it a little bit easy, still keep a spot on the track, give up that 1 spot, and just kind of ride a little bit easier, a little bit less nervous with a driver breathing all over your rear deck lid. So I do believe maybe Ryan Joyner just wanting to relax on the tires here during this early run. Long way to go, still 75 laps before we see that midway break for these drivers to refuel and refocus to get to the end of this race. And a few other battles still out there on track. Peyton Sayers, he's closing in on a few drivers and actually going to take that spot away from I believe that is the 15 that Sayers was able to finally get himself by. So a few drivers in the back still trying to make their way to the front.
Drivers that are back there that are trying to work themselves to the front. Remember, Shorter is back here. Brian had some issues also. Jacob in his 926 is back here, and Alexander is that green car there. You see the number 16 on the side of it, I believe. There it is, yeah, the 16. Labeled as the 15 for us, but, you know, sometimes, Al, you write things down and I can't even read them. So,
contact,
trouble.
1 car around. It's the 926 of Feskinen. Feskinen got touched, and around he went in turn number 3, bringing out our Eddie Performance caution flag number 1 of the evening. So yellow lights are out around the speedway, brought to us by Eddie Performance caution. And here is that was lap. It looked like the 926 of Jacob Feskinen gone around through the spin cycle, and that's going to hurt those tires, but it'll slow us down for the first time here tonight.
Yeah, let's take a quick look back here at our 09 Race Shop replay here tonight for the first caution flag of the evening when those Eddie Performance caution lights did come on. We caught that right there live, and just a little tap to that right rear sent that 926 around. So the 16 of Alexander getting into Jacob, and both cars actually going to be able to fire off. I don't see much damage, if any, on the 926. And a couple drivers, though, are coming down pit road here tonight under this first caution flag of the evening. That was your 09 Race Shop replay of the first caution flag tonight, bringing out those Eddie Performance caution lights. And, well, it's been a great race so far here tonight, Dave. Everybody has pretty much minded their P's and Q's. But now with them all bunched back up, what should we expect when we go racing?
I expect to see some more of those, a little bit of accordion effect wrecks, as I like to call them, little bumps going into the corners there on these restarts. Drivers going to be all over each other. Might see another, don't want to necessarily call it a replay, but we might see the sequel to the 16 and the 926. You may see a driver get into the rear deck lid of another one and spin them on around. Driver's going to be very keen to make up all that they can, because you got to get the job done on the restarts. Try to slot yourself in down on the bottom of the raceway. So these drivers are all going to be fighting hard very early here on the restart to try to get themselves back to the bottom.
Caution lights still on out here on the speedway, and Al, with the 55 of Williamson taking the race lead back, it seems like he maybe has a better long run setup in that Rocket Racing setup to number 55.
Yeah, it definitely started to come to life here around the lap 15 mark. He started to reel back in joiners. The lights go out, the Eddie Performance caution lights go out around the racetrack, and that will put us into the State Building Company restart zone off of turn number 4. It'll be Williamson and Joyner on the front row. Joyner's car took off really well, but then started to look like he got a little bit loose there. So interesting to see on this reset here. They caught some cars down pit road making some adjustments. Caution laps are counting, but the Silverado down off pit road. We're back on the green flag here tonight, brought to us by the Rocket Chassis green flag as we're back underway off of turn number 4. Williamson going to jump out. Here comes James Earl in that 51. He's going for that Accelerated Motorsports Clean Sweep Award. So you know that he's got that carrot dangling in front of him, but he's got to make it to lap 200 in order to get there. Lapovich working the outside of the 42 as well. They're still side by side stacked up here on the front of this one. Williamson and Joyner off of turn number 4. Contact a little bit off turn number 4, and they keep it going in the right direction, but Joyner's going to get credit with leading lap 35.
Contact at the front for the top 2 spots. Contact for 3rd and 4th on the speedway, as well as more drivers continuing to try to put themselves to the bottom of the speedway. Joyner now has a little bit of clearing a gap to get down. Does he clear in? Yes, he does. The 51 of Curl has to check up just a little bit. That's going to be, I believe that is the 32 of Lempovich being stuck still out there on the high side. He's got the 114 of Aaron Wisniewski just behind him. So it looks like the chaos starting to clean itself up just a little bit here as we're about 4 laps into this latest restart.
As we're a couple laps back into the restart, Daniel Williamson still is the race leader with Ryan Joyner there in 2nd. James Curl is 3rd. Drayton Lapsovich, you see him in the Reaper Speed Laps, number 32. He'll now find the bottom of the speedway. He gets ahead of Richard Allen. That's going to put the 114 of Aaron Wazinski to the outside. Richard Allen still has the inside momentum. Behind them, it's the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. Fortin looks like he has some rear end damage in the Program 09 Motorsports number 13. I don't know if that came off the restart. Contact in front of them between Allen and Aaron, but they both keep it pointed. We're 39 laps in the books, this time by 40 laps out of the 200 here tonight in the Barber Ford late model race here tonight at the South Boston Speedway.
As you watch Wieniski working the outside of the speedway, Fortin down low as the driver out of Quebec trying to make his way towards the front. Guillaume up 2 spots. He started 9th here so far, up to your 7th spot, trying to take 6 away from the 114 of Wisniewski. I want to touch upon the 32 of Lapovich. He used the outside of the speedway to get to that 4th spot. was able to clear the 42 of Allen and has now got that Reaper Motorsports Butt Kicker sponsor number 32. This inline and four spot is clicking off the lap. You see the battle here still on the race on your screen between the 13 of Fortin trying to work underneath Wisniewski. At some point, the outside line is going to prevail as you're going to have everybody stacked up on the bottom. Well, and when you get stacked up on the bottom, someone is a little bit slower in front of you, the outside line is going to work as we still see them battling. But Dave, my question to you is how much is that 114 of Wisniewski really eating up those tires? And the same with the 13 being pinched, not able to float the car up off the turns.
Well, it's almost a double-edged sword, Al. Well, if you're down there on the bottom, you got to check up a little bit more, so you're able to slow the car down a little bit more through the center of the corner. You don't have to use as much throttle getting off of the corner, so it's a little bit easier to keep yourself down there. But really tough for that 114 to try to keep up the pace without overdoing it on that right rear. He's going to finally give up that battle to the 13, slot himself in just in front of the 2 of Scott Lamp. But as I was saying there, running on that outside, when you've got that long train of cars down there, you might be able to make up a spot here and there. But if there's nowhere to slot back on the bottom, you're going to give up some spots until you can find a gap. And fortunately enough, that 114 is able to drop down to the bottom of the speedway and take that 7th position. Still clean and green here since the drop of the restart flag. I believe that was back on lap 20, Roger?
Yeah, somewhere about there. This is the longest run now of the evening here, and it's still the Bullet Burgers and more. Number 55 of Daniel Williamson, who picked up our Reaper Speed Labs pole award, is still out dueling right now. The 15 of Joyner, the 51 of Curl, and Lapsevich is still right there inside the top 4. Everybody has really gone single file. All 20 drivers, though, that started tonight are still out there on the field. One car did not start. That was the 21st position, and that is Kyle Klingenfield. Unfortunately, they had some issues with their lay model and were not able to take to the green flag. Of course, Devin Shorter, we talked about him earlier, having some problems with the Trailer Town USA number 22. He's got that right front caved in, and well, it's not looking any better than what it did before. He came down pit road. The crew did not have any what we would call fast repairs here in the sim world, as these drivers have to race with what they had. If you get damaged, well, that's what it's going to be the rest of the night, unless your crew has some bare bond down there. Just ahead of Shorter Alexander in that number 16 machine, the Micro Center sponsored entry. He's also got some left rear damage on that machine, some left front damage also. He is currently back here running into the 19th position. Somebody we haven't talked a whole lot about tonight is the driver of that 75 of Corey Dunn. Dunn has worked himself up 7 positions since the drop of the green flag. Remember back to qualifying. Lap number 1, Dunn smokes the wall with the right-hand side. Lap number 2, he comes back around and does the same thing. So both his qualifying laps were not allowed here tonight. They were voided, so he had to start tail end of the field. And, well, he is so far the biggest mover and shaker here at South Boston. He's been able to keep the nose of that 75 clean so far. Right ahead of him, that's the number 25. That is Jonathan Hall, the Rocket Racing Setup's number 25. Currently, he's picked up 3 spots himself.
Oh, yeah, and the 75 had done. I've been watching him since the green flag is dropped. He's really taking his time, not putting his car in any bad situation. So I believe that if he can get up towards the front here as he rides in that 13th spot, he's just kind of clicking off the lap. And I think right now is the mentality that you have to have. You got to, right now about half a track back to your race leaders. Williamson still leads over Joyner, but the 75, I see you watching that car, doesn't really step out, not really pushing the issue as he really rotates the center of the race of the corner. He's able to put the power down. He's closing in on the backside of Hall as they work here through turn 22. You see how he stays right on that yellow line. That, to me, is a sign of a good working race car as they work around the South Boston Speedway.
And, Roger, we mentioned the fact that Dunn came from the rear of the field. Another driver that started at the rear after going to back up the 90 of Colby Bryant. He's made up 4 positions now, running in the 15th spot. So both of those drivers being very methodical, picking off drivers as they make their way up towards the front of the field. Both now sitting inside of that top 15, but a driver going the opposite direction, Dylan Canova, dropping 8 spots from where he started tonight's race, now outside of the top 15, sitting in that 16th spot. So Canova out of Mulberry, Florida, he's got his hands full right now in that Rocket Racing Setups FSM Customs Barber Ford late model. There you can see him still trying to make his way back by Bryant on the screen, but not being able to do so just yet. Peyton Sayers just off behind them.
Dave, the 926 of Feskinen has gone around. He's going to come back out on the racetrack. No yellow flag has come out, so far the any performance caution flag lights will stay off as the green flag still stays out, but the 926 of Feskinen has gone around once again. He's pointed back in the right direction, and we stay green.
We stay green flag racing, but let's take a quick look. Our truck says they have what happened down there in the corner. Like, take a look here at the 09 setup replay. Oh, looks like the rear end just steps out from underneath him. He gets on that transition, loops it around on the bottom side of the speedway, and since he's off the track, we keep the green flag out as he got it pointed back into the right direction. He'll lose a couple spots, and I'm sure that's going to hurt the tires also on that 926. But here he comes. He's back out there, and he's looking underneath the number 16 of Alexander. So he'll try to pick up the spot, and he will do that. Alexander just hands him over the spot for the time being. But take a look. Let's take a look off the back deck lid here. This is off Alexander's number 16 machine. Take a look. You see that yellow and white machine? That is your race leader right now of Daniel Williamson. So lap traffic is going to be something that your race leaders are going to have to deal with probably here in the next 7 to 10 laps. I mean, Al, where do you go once you're the race leader and you get into traffic and you have Ryan Joyner right behind you?
Yeah, I was just thinking as watching this here, as your top 6, 7, 8 cars are all in a close line. You're going to have to pick your way through lap traffic. Hopefully, these drivers, you have to earn that first lap. That's the mentality of the short track racer. But hopefully, if I'm right now Williamson and I catch the back of the field, I just want them to be predictable. I want them to hold their line. I want to be able to make my move and have them just do what they need to do out on the racetrack. And, well, it's kind of hard to do. Is now James Curl starting to put pressure on Joyner. Curl took a look to the inside and going into turn number 3. He tucks it back in line, couldn't quite do anything with him. But that is the battle. It's Williamson up the racetrack now. Williamson up. This is the entry. He'll hold on to that race lead, but Joyner had a look to the inside off of turn number 2.
The only thing that's going to be predictable is it's going to be unpredictable here, Al. These drivers are going to run up on these back markers here very soon, and that very well may work back into the hands of Ryan Joyner or even James Curl. That 55, if he jumps to the outside to try to make the pass and gets hung out there, you may see Joyner or maybe Curl, probably even that 32, maybe try to stick it to the bottom of the speedway and force those back markers to the high side and form a little bit of a pick. But Williamson, he's going to be able to make his way by the first back marker. Alexander Savice going to go down one lap, be the first driver listed off of the lead lap. So it took us 73 laps to put somebody down. So, I mean, that says something all into itself here with this very, very short, tight track at South Boston. Drivers out there hammered down.
They're hammered down right now, and especially Richard Allen. I'm sure he's a little pucker factored up also because that 42, when he was going around the slower car of Alexander got a little loose off the corner, and Richard Allen was trying to make his move to the inside, and he almost took a loop in that Rocket Racing setup number 42. Right now, Richard Allen is running into the 5th position. He doesn't want to have to go any farther back than what he would need because he knows that this is a field full of sharks here tonight. They are so fast. They are all skilled and talented to the point where, well, gentlemen, let's face it, the 3 of us up here, we don't even wave the stick anywhere near them. As soon as we wave that stick, it breaks in half, and then they send us right back up here to the booth where we're eating hot dogs and Twizzlers. And Al, did you bring the water?
I did bring the water here tonight as they work here. And my question right now is how much you push. You saw Joyner there on the screen. He got to the back bumper Williamson. Now Williamson has stretched it out. Right now, you got that halfway break looming about 23 laps away from the yellow flag at the halfway break. You come down, make adjustments to these cars, but you have to go back out on these racing tires that you started the race with. These drivers can change wedge, they can change track bar, they can change a little bit of this on these cars. Who makes the right adjustment? Who makes the wrong adjustment? As we were talking earlier, Dave, Canova already came down on lap 29 for for pit stops. Did not like the way that car handled, talking to the crew chief on top of the box. Made some adjustments to that number 70, and since then, he has been one of the faster cars on the racetrack, but mired back here in the 15th position. He has caught the 17 of Ryberg as these drivers battle it out for the 15th position. So it's going to be important to see who makes those right adjustments here in about another 20 laps when that competition caution will come out.
Yeah, and Al, fortunately enough for those changes that they're going to have to make, they're not having to keep up with a changing track as far as temperature is concerned. Track temperature still at 94 degrees out there right now, so only a 1 degree drop in the temperature from what they had in qualifying and what they had in practice, so crew chief's not going to have to deal with that just as much as they'll have to deal with the tire wear. You got to kind of set up for the future if you can. If the car's already transitioned to being pushy or loose, you may want to make an over adjustment to try to compensate for what's going to happen on the back end of everything here as we continue to click off these green flag laps. Only one caution so far here tonight, and caution back on the speedway. Second caution of the evening. Looks like that 08 of Peyton Sayers may have been involved.
Yeah, the Eddie Performance caution lights coming back on all around the speedway. The 08, you see him up into the outside wall, nose first. That's usually not. Oh boy, that one's going to leave the mark on the on both cars. But the caution lights coming back out here for the Eddie Performance caution lights. We are under our second caution flag of the evening.
If I was a betting man, Roger, I'm going to say that backup job might have been a result of why that Eddie's Performance yellow lights have come on now.
Well, let's take the look back here on our replay tonight, brought to us by the 09 Race Shop, and see what happens here with Peyton Sayers. Let's see if we can zoom it out high and wide for you race fans. Let's watch the Race Energy Drink 08 entry, and, well, Al, I think the kids today call that a self-yeet.
Yes. I think he wanted to visit Halifax. Maybe he wanted to visit Halifax?
Well, Halifax is a very nice county down there. That's a good possibility. Let's see if we can ride on board here. Take a look. Right off the roof camera here. It wheel hops it down into the corner, and he goes to save it, and when it catches, he catches the fence. Unfortunate here to bring out the second caution flag of the evening here at the South Boston Speedway. Race fans, we got to thank you as we're closing in on the halfway point here tonight in the Barber Ford late model portion of our SOBO 300 here from the virtual South Boston Speedway. Right now, it is Daniel Williamson who has led the most laps. He still holds on to the top spot here tonight. His Pontiac, and guys, you know me enough. You put a Pontiac logo on the car. It doesn't matter what color it is or any of that or what motor transplants under the hood. I'm going to root for it if it's got the Pontiac logo. They built excitement.
Sure.
Well, I tried to bring the excitement, and you guys just literally let the helium right out of my balloon. Thank you.
Well, here's the exciting part. Williamson going to take the outside on this second restart when they get to the State Building Company restart zone here as they come off of turn number 3 and 4. The green flag will be back out, courtesy of State Building Company. So interesting, Williamson going to take the outside here on the restart, and he'll jump on the launch pedal, but we are back underway. Hill will clear the 15 of Joyner in the turn number 1.
Surprising to see that 55 of Williamson keep that high lane on the restart and not just drop right down once it was clear. Now that he's going to go ahead and go to the bottom of the speedway, stacking up just behind him, the 15 of Ryan Joyner, and that 32 of Lapsovich out there on the outside lane. Can he make that outside? Oh, big time wiggle off of 2. Oh my goodness, that could have ended up bad for that 32. He's going to collect it and now be side by side with Curl.
Yeah, Curl going to work the inside of the speedway. Lapsovich right now in that Reaper Speed Labs entry. I'm sure the tires are a little annoyed right now, screaming. He'll have the quick chance to get down ahead of Allen, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Take a look at all those accelerated motorsports cars that are right now around Lapsovich. Lapsovich has 2 of them in front of him and about 3 or 4 of them all lined up behind him. He has to worry right now if he's in the enemy territory. Right now, though, Allen and Aaron are battling side by side as the teammates almost get squeezed into the wall. Now they all go single file and maybe a little bit of a bump. Aaron now going to take the bottom side of the speedway. More contact. Contact as one of them goes around. That's going to be Richard Allen parked against the inside wall as our Eddie Performance caution lights come out onto the speedway. And oh boy, this one's not going to be a good one. Smoke bellowing out of the back of that number 42 for Richard Allen. That is not how you want to end up here before the halfway point tonight. Let's take a quick look back here at our 09 Race Shop replay and see that it happened right in front of us.
Yeah, and Roger, you can notice he gets into the corner and gives him a little bit of a bump right there. Initially gets underneath there, and right across the nose he goes. And doesn't surprise me, very close to this halfway break.
So
Interesting that the radiator has gone out on that number 42 for Richard Allen, but not very hard contact to the inside wall there, Roger.
Yeah, sometimes, these cars, they have a mind of their own, and that was the hard impact. Actually, when we go from the nose camera there, it actually is a little bit harder of an impact than what we thought. So I guess that's where the smoke is really bellowing out with that radiator knocked out of it. I thought he was going to have a bad night to go the rest of the way with just the rear end damage on that 42. But now it looks like with his motor expiring, it's going to be a long night regardless, as he'll have to go to pit road. And I think the iRacing officials say that's usually about a 45 to a 50-minute repair if they have to put a whole brand new motor in. The good thing about them is that Barber Ford can get them a brand new racing engine ready to go.
Well, how about this? The 42 already back out onto the racetrack. So Barber Ford supplying a new Ford Fusion power plant radiator in the front of that number 42. And it looks like the one for Dane of Wisniewski being assessed a penalty for bringing out the third Eddie Performance caution flag of the evening.
Well, guys, I got to ask you this question here. We know there's new damage models being released on iRacing constantly to mimic more real-life, real-world scenarios and things of that nature. Is that new damage model on these late models?
No, this is one of the short track cars that do not have that brand new damage model just yet. Al, do they have the tire model, I believe?
They have the newer tire model. Is now the pace truck going to go off. We're going to go back into the State Building Company restart zone. And the Rocket Chassis green flag is back and out here in the turn number 1. They have a new tire model on there, so that's going to be interesting to see how hard these guys are pushing this tire. They do wear out and they can blow out. So if you blow a tire, that's pretty much going to end it without having extra tires in the pits here tonight. Williamson going to leave the halfway point now, working lap for 100. Joyner to the outside. Here comes James Curl battling to the inside. This is the battle for that number 2 spot. In the turn 3 and 4, they'll come digging on the bottom. James Curl going to take second away from Joyner. Now Curl going to get back to that second position. Joyner a little bit out of shape off in turn number 2. He's got Lapovich, and here comes Guillaume Fortin. Remember, we saw him sliding backwards early on up the racetrack. Fortin will go a little bit sideways once again. He'll hold on to that 6th position as he tries to work around the number 2 Lamb.
And as these drivers all sort themselves out, looking for when this halfway point caution is going to be thrown, already past that halfway point.
Around Dave, the 13 of Fortin's going to go around. Everybody's going to jump on the binders. And there is the 4th Eddie Performance flag for the 13 of Fortin. He just lost the handle in turns 3 and 4, and he has brought out our 4th Eddie Performance caution flag of the race.
Talking about how well he was doing, working his way back up through the field, and the young man just lost the handle on the program entry and bringing out our 4th caution flag of the evening. Let's take a look back here at our 09 Race Shop replay, as let's go see if we can pull it from our spotter stand here tonight. And you see a little contact by the 7 of Tony McGuire, and then maybe a tire going down on the 13, and the 25 of Jonathan Hall just getting a little piece of that also. Let's see if we can go back here. And right on board here with our Max Pappas Innovations onboard camera with Jonathan Hall. See the 13 sliding in front of him, and he locks it down. Unfortunately, Hall tried to go to the outside, just wasn't quite able to clear the spinning 13 of Guillaume for him.
I don't think he would have cleared either way. He went right there, Roger. That was right in front of him. I mean, nowhere to go right there for Hall.
You see him working the car back and forth out here on the racetrack underneath this yellow flag here tonight by Eddie Performance. Gotta wonder how much damage on that left front was had through that number 25, the driver of the Rocket Racing setups out of Rocky Mount, Virginia. Gotta wonder, did it knock the toe out on that left front of that number 25?
Yeah, you never know how much damage is really done to these machines till we get back up going under full speed here. And well, it is a short track, so that toe is going to be very big. You know, could increase the camber on that 25, and then it could have a tire problem going forward. But what we do know is leading at the halfway point here tonight, it was the driver of that 55. The halfway point award going to Daniel Williamson, presented by the American iRacing League and Tyler Payne. So right now, Williamson picking up all the extra little pennies that are being dropped here tonight. So congratulations to him on picking that up, as it looks like we're getting ready. If we're going to go back green flag racing, we will. We'll come back here into the State Building Co. restart zone as the Rocket Racing chassis. Green flag is back out over the halfway point, home in this one as we're on the downside coming home.
There you can see that outside lane working once again for Williamson, able to get back on the throttle there coming through turn number 2 or through the center of 1 and 2. He's going to be able to put himself in and up and around James Curl, who had a great restart. He was right there looking to take that top spot away, but Curl was not able to do so just yet, as all these drivers still battling to get to the bottom of the speedway here early after our latest restart.
Tony McGuire working the outside of the 70 of Dylan Canova. So the changes that Canova came down on pit road on lap 29, they have really paid off. Canova now worked his way back inside the top 10, up to that 6th position. So the driver out of Mulberry, Florida, really starting to make a comeback now as he's really taking that car up. You don't see it sliding around. Maybe a little bit of adjustment back on lap 29. He's used his caution flag and a fast race car to claw his way back into contention. Now he works underneath the number 2 of Clamp. So Lamp right now is trying to make it inside the top 5. Canova trying to knock him out of that top 5. So a nice rebound by the driver of that 70 as he worked off turn number 4.
Yeah, we talked about drivers that are coming through the field and falling through the field. Corey Dunn still on the move here tonight. He does have a little damage to the nose of his number 75 now, but it's 12 spots gained. That's a net gain of 12 there for Corey Dunn. Puts himself inside the top 10 for the first time tonight. He is running currently 8th, but right behind the number 7 of Tony McGuire. Dylan Canova, a little bit of a battle back here as the 22 Trailer Town machine. They have gotten that right front fender beat out a little bit. Some bare bond on there. It's looking pretty good. It looks a little more aerodynamic friendly, but we're still here at the short track as Devin Shorter back there running in the 15th spot. He just got around the 25 of Jonathan Hall, and I think we know the answer to whether Jonathan Hall has some damage on that 25. It just does not look as stout as it once did.
So definitely knocked the left front off of there, Dave, and that's got to be very discouraging. Hall is running very well as he works down the backstretch. Maybe he can, adjust on that car to help with the damage that has made there. We get another Eddie Performance caution flag of the race. He can come down pit road to the attention of the crew, and they can make some adjustments to maybe help that number 25.
Yeah, and we mentioned that he did have some damage, not knowing how significant it really was. Now, as you said, Roger, up to speed, you can really tell he's lost a ton of ground. Now sitting back in the 16th position as more drivers continue to move through the front. But looking at the timing and scoring charts right here, only a handful of drivers have been down to pit road to make some changes. The one benefiting from it the most is that 70 of Canova, stopping back on lap number 29. He's now in that 6th position. But interesting enough, your top 5 have yet to come to pit road under any caution that we have had here tonight to try to do anything with the car. So all your front runners happy with the way the cars are handling.
Yeah, remember, there's no tires in the pits for these drivers, so when Dylan Canova did come down, it was maybe just for some wedge or maybe a rear spring adjustment. It could have been anything, maybe just a tire pressure adjustment. Not putting any tires on his car. You could tell his car is still really loose because it's been a handful of times as we just watch him. He gets down there, like right now, he is sitting on the right rear of that Rapid Fire Pizza number 70. He is just letting her eat. He knows he's already halfway home, but the question is, can he continue to keep those tires underneath the 70? It's a long way to go yet, just under 80 laps left in this one, but Al, can Canova conserve and save that right rear tire enough?
I think he's got to back it down right now and try to save that tires. Now the 7 McGuire is starting to close in on him, so that 70 maybe overheated that right rear on that restart as you see him still stepping out sideways. So I think right now, if you're Canova, you have to try to back it down, maybe keep it aligned, keep that car straight, maybe put a little bit more front brake in the car to maybe tighten you up. So that's the devil's double-edged sword right there. You can start to tighten yourself up as they'll move up the racetrack. McGuire going to get to the inside contact off turn number 4. McGuire in car number 7 going to take a look at the inside of Canova. So Canova now back to your 7th spot, but we talked about him earlier on. Here comes the 75 of Dunn. Dunn has been methodically just keeping that car straight as possible, hugging that yellow line. He finds himself inside the top 10, looking for a little bit more as he closes in on the backside of the 70 of Canova.
And, you know, I think the most telling thing during this little exchange, and still struggling right now, is Canova in that 70. He's going to give up that spot once again here to the 75. Now Dunn going to look to the inside. I called it a little bit premature there, but now Dunn going to pull clear going into turn number 3. But once you heat up those rear tires, it is a struggle to get them back in a happy spot, a happy place, to where you can still put the power down and have the grip. You can still find Canova struggling back into that car, twitching around as he's trying to get the power down from the center off on these corners. And looking through the rest of the timing and scoring right now, not seeing very, very many battles out there. Jonathan Hall caught up, taking a spot away from Colby Bryant. That's back 14th and 15th on the speedway. More drivers still mixing it up throughout the field. The 114 takes over the 9th position. It's going to put Preston McGee back into 10th.
Back out front, though, it's still the 55 of Daniel Williamson. Behind him, it's still James Grill. Trayton Lapsovich has gotten himself into 3rd, putting Ryan Joyner back to the 4th position. Joyner looks like he has really started to either back it down or the tires have gone away. We're going to see a lot of this here through the rest of this event here tonight. As there's a battle, here comes the 114. Aaron working to the inside of Canova. Canova still letting her eat here, and he's still currently inside the top 10. But a couple of drivers, if he doesn't get a move on it right now or get a control underneath those tires, he's going to be on the outside looking in of your top 10. And your race leader isn't that far behind the drivers that are currently inside the top 10 either. So, right, looking at about a little over a half a track yet before they have to worry. Sideways for the 70 of Canova, though. He's going to burn him up a little bit more, and he'll fall back behind Aaron.
Yeah, right now I'm watching Curl. He's kind of just mocking the 55 of Williamson. Those two have kind of broken away from Lapovich, who runs in that 3rd position, as they catch the 08 of Sayers off at the corner. It's probably one of the worst spots if you're a race leader to catch lap traffic. Is up off these corners. It gets really tight there, Dave. And I'm watching the times on the speed charts right now as they click off these laps. And Curl a little bit quicker one lap, then Williamson quicker the next lap. Both of those drivers with the Rocket Racing setups underneath those chassis. Could they be possibly on the same chassis? One car around, that's the 22 down on the inside of the racetrack, has spun out, and we stay green flag racing as of right now. But those two drivers up at 1-2, could they be working together right now? We know Curl picked up the street stock, the left turn promotion street stock victory a little bit earlier, trying to make a clean sweep of it here in the Barber Ford late models. Do you think Curl is just kind of riding there, saving his stuff? We know he's a veteran of these late models and short track racing leagues. James Curl riding to that in your number 2 spot.
Well, something that I've noticed both out of the drivers at the front of the field and drivers making their way through the field, such as that 75 of Corey Dunn, now up 13 spots from where he started tonight's race, is the smoothness, the consistency into the corners and on the exits. The 55 of Williamson as well as the 51 of James Curl, both of those drivers getting into the corners fairly easy. You don't see very much twitch or wiggle out of the cars at all. Corey Dunn also has a very stable machine underneath him right now. So what I'm more concerned right now, Al, about is the laps. We're clicking them down to under 60 laps to go here. It's basically a short track Saturday night shootout to see who's going to walk away with the checkered flag here. And how long is Curl willing to ride it out in that second spot before he uses the bumper and tries to walk away with a little extra money in his pocket for getting that clean sweep award?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the interesting point right now. You see the 51 on screen. He's ran the high side in 3 and 4 the last time by. Now right back to the inside. And he closes it really back up. So maybe Curl fishing out there right now, throwing the line out in the water to trying to find out, all right, I know I'm a little bit better maybe on this long run than Williamson is, but being faster is one thing, catching him is another, and his passing on top of that, well, we've seen that could be quite difficult here, and they don't want to use the chrome horn, but we close it in on that 50 lap to go mark, Roger. When will that, the patience, being nice, playing nice with each other, kind of go out the window?
I think these two drivers right now that are running 1 and 2, they have more respect for each other than probably anybody throughout the field. Yes, this is a close-knit short track racing group as we see a battle back here for about the 9th position on the straightaway back here. These two drivers just swapping, McGee taking over now the 8th position. But back to Daniel Williamson and James Curl. These two, they run more short track racing. I mean, if you don't follow James Curl on social media, I mean, the guy's racing probably 8 to 10 races per day here on iRacing. And of course, Daniel Williamson, the late model setup builder for Rocket Racing setups. And I mean, they have the wit, they have the knowledge, they have the know, and they definitely have the track time working with each other. So you're probably not going to see either of these two drivers really rough each other up for a win, as they have just, I think they have just too much respect for each other. What you do see now, though, is James Curl starting to move around a little bit, trying to find a different groove that possibly he could get around the 55 of Daniel Williamson right now. Closing in on 50 laps to go. It's Williamson, it's Curl, it's Lapsevich, Joyner, and Lamp, your top 5 drivers. Right now, just 2 drivers off the speedway, and it looks like G-Man, Guillaume Foran, and Devin Shorter have gone to pit road for the time being. Richard Allen and Jacob in his 926 are sitting back there 19th and 20th. The last 2 cars still running here tonight. 1 driver did not take to the grid, and that was Kyle Klingenfield here tonight.
Well, something that in lines with what you said, they're going to bring up another question, Roger, for both you and Al. Either one or both can actually answer it here. With them being as competitive and as closely as close with each other, does that give them a little bit more of, I can rub on him and it's, he's not going to be too upset. We're buddies. We can talk about it, get over it, and move on from it. Will that actually be the way it goes? And is that 51 just running a few different lines to get the attention of Williamson in the mirror, get his eyes back there paying attention to the mirror just a little bit more in different spots of the speedway, and possibly make a mistake and allow that 51 to get right up beside and actually try to take that top spot?
I think possibly. I think right now, if you're in the 51, you've been following the 55 of Williamson for the last 150 laps. You've seen where his car's not really stepping out. You're seeing where he's not really making a mistake. So I think you have to search around as now the clouds start to come in. We saw sun out on the racetrack for a few laps there. Now the sun has gone behind the clouds here once again at South Boston Speedway here tonight. So the 51 of Curl, I think you're seeing them search around a little bit, trying to figure out, all right, well, the 55 of Williamson is not coming off that yellow line. So A, I'm either going to have to knock him off the line, or B, I'm going to have to find another way around them. And Roger, they're closing in on some lap traffic, and the 78 Canova was up inside the top 10. He is now up out of the racing group. Maybe that right rear tire has a slow leak in it as Canova will go down 1 lap to your race leaders. now the 25 of Paul. My question is, as this race continues to go on, you also got to remember that these drivers are racing for some cold hard cash. 150 to your race winner. It's a $75 difference per second. Will that make a change in there as well? Along with this cloud cover, the track temperature is going to be dropping.
Well, considering that James Curl's already picked up a big check here today, and of course so has Daniel Williamson when he took the Reaper Speed Labs pole award here tonight, and then also leading at the halfway point for the American iRacing League. So, I mean, both drivers are going to walk away tonight, well, with some good old cash in their pockets, that is for sure. The question that I want to know is, do you want to split the winnings with me? Do you want to go 50-50 if you just run second? I mean, that's probably what I'm whispering right now to James Curl or something, trying to get him just to, hey, right now we're actually, if you look at the timing and scoring, there's Daniel Williamson and James Curl coming through turn 4. There is Trayton Lapsovich. He is actually a straightaway behind the race leader. Yes, the timing and scoring, that is only about a little over 2.5 seconds, but this is not a very big track. Track times last time by for your race leader of Daniel Williamson was still a 16.35 second lap, so it does not take a long time to get around here, but they have a very big gap back to that machine of Trayton Lapsovich, and then Ryan Joyner also is even farther back yet. He is about, well, the same distance pretty much from first and second to third, from third back to fourth and fifth, because Lamp is right there, Corey Dunn is right there. What these drivers all want to see right now is one of those Any Performance caution lights come on the speedway so they can all get caught back up. But I don't know, Al, I think I would split the money right now if I was Daniel Williamson, if James Curl just let me get away.
Yeah, you don't want to see one of those Any Performance caution lights come up. That means you're going to have to start side by side. And as we can see on the camera view, the marbles are starting to get built up on the inside of the racetrack and the outside of the racetrack. You get out of line there, these tires, as being hot as they are right now, going to pick up those marbles, and that's like driving with a flat tire until you can clean them off. So it's going to be interesting to see if a yellow flag does come out, here in the later stages of this race. Closing in on that 25 lap to mark, left to go. You see Curl up the racetrack, kind of diving it off, trying to see if he can get a run where he can get the nose underneath the 55 of Williamson. And Dave, from the bigger racetracks, those marbles can wreak havoc on your race car.
Yeah, anytime you step out of the racing line, really anywhere, whether it's a mile and a half, a 2 mile super speedway, or even these 0.3 of a mile racetracks, it's going to play havoc on the way the car handles for the next few laps until you burn some of that dirty rubber back off of the tires. And there you can see a driver struggling right now, actually, with the rear grip is the 2 of Scott Lamp. He's given up that 5th position, that last money-paying spot here tonight. And Corey Dunn's going to slot himself up into the top of 5 now, up 15 spots from where he started tonight's race. So able to just keep it on the racing line and able to move his way up through the front of the field. And as you said there, Al, a lot of marbles on the outside of the track, some beginning to form on the inside of the track. Very important to get that left front grip. It's not all about that right rear. That left front can help you out a lot. That's why we've seen these drivers dip it just below that yellow line, as we've seen the 75 do that time through the center of a 1 and 2, able to make the car rotate a little bit more, get a little more mechanical grip out of the car, as now we see him take a shot for the 4th spot. He's going to go ahead and put Ryan Joyner behind him into 5th.
Yeah, Corey Dunn doing the veteran thing there all night long. He's had to, since his qualifying time was not allowed, and he had to go to the back of the field. He has now worked his way inside the top 5, and now it's into the 4th position, picking up 16 spots here for Corey Dunn. It is easy to say that he is the biggest mover of the race, as we're closing in on under 30 laps to go here tonight. Corey Dunn will go around the slower car. That's Peyton Sayers in the 08. Sayers in his Raise Energy Drink MS Construction entry has had a rough go of it here, as he is a couple laps down to the race leader. Your race leader still going to be Daniel Williamson, but here comes the pass for the race lead. Here comes the 51 of Curl. He says it is now officially time to pounce, and here it is. James Curl, will he be able to lead this time by at the line? James Curl being shown as the race leader, as that's going to put the 55 of Daniel Williamson back behind him. Did Curl learn something and then use it against Williamson? Or did Williamson just slip up and get out of the groove? You can see the 55, that Pontiac, the nose of that big old heavy Pontiac is starting to now kind of push in the middle of the corner. That car that time got tight out of turn 4, just scrubbed a little bit of the wall. That Bullet Burgers and more rocket setups. Number 55 is now trending in the wrong direction. Sideways for one of them behind them, and one of them parked into the outside wall there, I think. I believe that is the 40. Is that the 42? No. The 25. Well, guys, I don't know which number that was.
I believe that was the 63 of Kenny Lang. Is now the Eddie Performance caution lights come on around the speedway as James Curl picks up the race lead there. And Roger, I was just getting ready to tell you, Curl's car seems to have gotten better as the fuel load is burnt off. You saw him fishing around a different spot, and he finally made the move as we see the 63 of Kenneth Lang going to go down on the pit road, smoke billowing from the number 63. So a tough break for the Accelerated Motorsports Racing Rocket Racing Setups driver out of Roanoke, Virginia, as he will sit on the pit road and he cuts the power. So let's take a look at the 09 replay. As he went down the turn number 3 and 4, just steps up and overcorrected in a hard shot to the right front of the outside wall. And Barney the flagman had no other thing to do than throw the Eddie lights onto the racetrack.
See if we can take a look back here. I think we have a cockpit head camera here mounted with Kenny Lang here tonight. Let's watch it down into the corner. You see he tries to drive out of it, hooks back, and he holds it up against the outside wall because James Curl and Daniel Williamson, they were coming. They were going to be there in a second, and, well, didn't want to come back down the track and get involved with the race leader. So Kenny Lang there, you see him down on pit road. His night is not going to go the way he wanted it to, as those caution lights come on for the 5th time here tonight, as we are going to be under 20 laps to go in this one. It'll be James Curl, Daniel Williamson, and I believe it's going to still read Trayton Lapsevich sitting there in the 3rd position. Corey Dunn now is going to have some spots that he could possibly try to pick off here. He'll restart 4th. Ryan Joyner in 5th. Scott Lamp will restart 6th. Preston McGee back there will be restarting in the 7th position. Tony McGuire back in 8th. Wisniewski going to start there. It's A.A. Rod in the 9th position. And Nick Reber going to start there in position number 10. So it's going to be an old-fashioned shootout here to the finish tonight in our Barber Ford main event here from the South Boston Speedway. We got to thank Barber Ford. We got to thank Swag for coming on board here tonight. We got to thank Apex Racing, BK Paints, DWR Designs, Rocket Racing Setups, Eddie Performance Solutions, the iRacing Short Track Esports Series, Max Pappas Innovations, of course, State Building Company. We also got to thank Reaper Speed Labs for coming on board. But we're going to jump into the restart zone here. It's the State Building Co. restart zone as the Rocket Racing chassis green flag is back out. 18 to go this time. When we restart, it's Curl down into 1.
Curl jumps up to the race lead. Now the battle for second. Now is contact between Lapovich and the 55 of Williamson. Jumping on the binders with the 75 of Dunn. Now allows Joyner to get by him. So Dunn back to that fist, but he'll cut to the inside. Williamson up the racetrack. Joyner up the racetrack. Here comes Dunn challenging back to the inside. They'll settle it back out, but the battle for second still rages on off of turn number 4.
You can see these drivers now struggling to keep the car down on the bottom of the racetrack through the center of the corner. There you can see the 32 as well as the 15 of Ryan Joyner, both moving up the track just a little bit. The 55 had some troubles a handful of laps ago, about 2 laps ago to be exact, almost into that outside wall, trying to maintain that second spot on the outside line right now. The inside stacking up, Joyner into the back of the 32. That'll stack him up right back in front of Corey Dunn as he continues to try to get himself a little bit further in up through the field and try to maybe take away one of those top 3 podium spots here. Still side by side for second as Curl has stepped away 1.5 second advantage with only 14 laps remaining.
I think I heard last time by from one of the race fans when they came across. So one of them actually going to spin it out of turn 4 into the tire barrier. That's going to throw the Eddie Performance caution lights onto the speedway once again. That's the 87 of Preston McGee. He has looped it around here. as we were getting 13 to go. Right now, James Curl goes, boy, I did not want to see that closing in on the end of this one, because now he's going to have to battle again with Williamson, Lapsevich, Joyner, Dunn, Lamp. They're all going to be right back on top of each other. But let's take the quick look back here at our 09 Race Shop replay here tonight for the 6th time tonight. 87 down to the bottom side of the speedway. Oh, he got down there onto the apron a little bit, and then unfortunately, looks like he made contact with Scott Lamp. Looks like Lamp left the door open to the inside. He tried to get in there. Let's take a look back here. Let's look here from our onboard camera. There you see the wiggle getting in from the apron. Then he gets to the inside of the Accelerated Motorsports number 2 of Scott Lamp, and right into those water barrels that they have down there at the exit of the corner, protecting that pit wall out of turn number 4. That's what's going to bring out the caution flag here once again this evening. It'll be under 10 laps to go, Al. You thought it was going to be a barn burner or shootout with under 20. Now it'll be under 10.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of contact on that restart last time by, or on that last, state building restart. And now, when the green flag will drop from the Rocket Racing chassis restart here, with the green flag comes out, it'll be under 10 laps to go, Roger. And you can see the 55. If you look at the left side of that race car, tire marks all the way up and down at Lapevich and Williamson were throwing haymakers while trying to keep Joyner and Dunn behind them. Dunn actually restarted 4th last time by, and now he'll start on the inside. If you are one of these leaders, I think he is the sleeper car. Remember, he started all the way back in the 20th position here tonight, and now has made his way to the top 5. Probably one of the, if not the best car out on the racetrack. It's a feat just to make it inside the top 5, starting where he did. To do it as methodically and making, the moves, not pressing the gas pedal too hard, keeping the car underneath them. As the lights go out, the Eddie Performance caution lights are out around the South Boston Speedway. It'll be a 7-lap shootout to settle this one here for the SOBO 300.
So we'll come back around here to be James Curl, Daniel Williamson, Trayton Lapsevich, Ryan Joyner, Corey Dunn. Your top 5. 7 laps to go to decide who is going to win the Barber Ford late model race here at the South Boston Speedway, presented by Swag iRacing Pace Car. And we are in the State Building Co. Restart Zone. Green flag back into the air. 7 laps to go. Does Daniel Williamson have anything left in that number 55 as he works the outside of the speedway? James Curl has the race lead, and he has cleared the second place car. 3 wide, turn 3 and 4. Contact. Joyner trying to bully his way. They're all going to scatter down the front straightaway. Now contact. Williamson into the back of Joyner. Joyner going to slide. McGee going to slide. Caution lights coming on.
Big jump off of turn number 2 there, Dave, right there in front of you.
Dave,
I tell you what,
did they take your hat off on that?
Yeah, that 15, man, he came shooting through the center right there, and it looked like Williamson may have been just a little bit upset, not on the brakes as hard as possibly he needed to be, and that's going to stack him up big time mess off of turn, I believe that is turn 4, coming back across the, no, that's actually off of turn number 2. I apologize, but man, talk about being brave and trying to get it when you can. That 15 stuck it in the middle.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to put his nose there, but the Eddie Performance caution lights are on. Let's take a look back here at the 09 Race Shop replay. Let's see if we can find, there's already more contact, and that's actually already Joyner going around, and then the 08 entry also coming in there of Peyton Sayers. Let's see if we can get the truck to go back just a little bit farther. There's that 3 wide. There's Williamson up into the wall. When Williamson comes back down, a little bit unhappy. I think the temper flared there, just possibly a little bit. Ryan Joyner then going around there. You see the 17 also involved of Reberg and Preston McGee. He was already sideways on the bottom side of the speedway too. So a couple cars junked up here at the end. There you see the 7. I believe that was Tony McGuire. He got spun around also. Let's see if we can ride on board here.
Just clips that 114 there, doesn't he, Roger? And well, it snaps right around there, then Looks like McGuire in the 7 innocently involved in that one, the 87, and a tough break for the 17, the driver out of Love Spark, Illinois. He does nose hard in that wall off of turn number 2.
Well, here's the good thing, race fans. You all like short track racing, right? Well, guess what? You are about to see some more. We are going to overtime, extra innings here tonight to decide the Barber Ford main event here from the South Boston Speedway for the SOBO 300, presented by Swag. Which one of these drivers are going to walk away with a little swag? Well, this time we're going to come back into the restart zone. That's, of course, our State Building Company restart zone before our Rocket Racing Chassis green flag comes back out here tonight. It'll be green, white, and checker. Attempt number 1 here after our 7th caution flag of the evening. The green flag is back up. We are racing. Lapsovich to the outside in the Reaper Speed Labs, number 32. What does he have here as they work down the back straightaway? James Curl is your leader.
Contact into turn number 3. Up the racetrack they go. Here comes Dunn. Dunn to the inside. It'll get the white flag at the line. Lapovich leading it. Dunn down to the inside. Contact to Lapovich. Dunn going to take the race lead. Here comes Curl back.
Oh my gosh.
2. James Curl slides out of that one. He'll be your race leader off of turn number 4. The Barber Ford late model win. The James Curl. Wisniewski's going to finish second. Lapovich will come home finishing 3rd. Williamson, and how about Bryant rounding out the top 5? Can you believe it?
Haymakers, drop kicks, and flying elbows bring some of the field to their knees at the end of tonight's race. Wow.
How did Trayton Lapsovich finish 3rd, guys? He was involved in the melee on the back straightaway.
I am not sure, but I hope, Dave, that was right in front of you off of turn number 2 there. You saw the contact. You knew the gloves were going to be off coming to the white flag, and the 75 of Dunn trying to get to the inside, clipped the left rear quarter panel of that 32 of Lapovich. Can you believe it? James Curl going to take the clean sweep from the Accelerated Motorsports. He won the left turn promotion street stocks and now will pull into the Per Year Racing Parts victory lane here in the Barber Ford late models.
Guys, while we have time and it's still fresh, we have to go back. Let's watch the final 2 laps here again, as James Curl is your unofficial winner here tonight. He's doing the burnouts tonight, but let's watch this back. This is your 09 Race Shop replay of the final 2 laps of this one. Watch James Curl as he was your race leader when we went back racing. There's Corey Dunn in the 75. There's the 32 of Trayton Lapsovich. This is what all transpired in the last 2 laps. There's the bump from the 32 of Lapsovich. Here comes the 75 of Corey Dunn. He says, all right, well, if we're going to play it that way on the final lap, here I come. He really dives it off into one. He gets right into that left rear quarter panel. Look at the 2 of Scott Lamp, innocent bystander. Look at this. Oh, boy. The 32 just gets drilled straight into the wall off turn number 2, and Lapsovich keeps in it with his right foot. Boy, that's how they come across the line.
There.
Yeah, I mean, that was nuts.
I don't know what to say. Every time we do one of these things, I'm like, I've seen it all. And then we see something that we've never seen before.
Well, how about Curl there getting moved, I don't want to say punted, but you know, it's short track racing. Into the race, you move the driver up out of the way just a little bit there, getting moved dead to rights there on the green white checkered attempt, all the way back to 3rd, coming out of turn number 2, and somehow ends up with the race win.
Yeah, it's crazy the way that these guys race. It's always good short track racing. And, well, race fans, you know all of us here at the Turn 3 Racing Network are short track racing fans, and we hope that you are short track racing fans, because if you're not, you really need to get out to your local short track and see what happens when the gloves come off, because they put on some of the best shows around the country. We are getting ready to go down to Victory Lane here, to your Pure Year Race Parts Victory Lane, to talk with James Curl. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll be back here to see what your race winner of the street stocks and the late model race has to say about this.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back here, race fans, to the South Boston Speedway for the Barber Ford late model portion here of our SOBO 300 weekend, presented by Swag. The racing is officially in the books, and I'm being passed along a note, guys, that the race is unofficial as of right now. Everybody, after that last handful of laps, had to really shake them and bake them to get to where we are right now in our portion of this event. It does look like they have cleared the 51 of James Curl as possibly the race winner. So let's head down trackside right now to pick up our race winner, as he won the street stock race, ladies and gentlemen, and now he won the late model race, and he sits in our pure year victory lane. It is James Curl. James, you pick up another win here tonight. This one, though, looks like you had to go to backyard style.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that aren't very happy about it. I knew the 32 was going to be able to have the run off of 2 on the restart. Ran about a lane up off the bottom, and I guess we made contact. I don't know if it was the iRacing's dreaded netcode or what, but made contact, and then I just got sent off into turn 3. So after that, I was just trying to hold on, and then in turn 1 and 2, I just basically drug the wall and missed the wreck. So
that was probably the best thing for you, is being sent up to the outside, because you did miss that wreck. Did you think something was going to happen when you were punted to the outside, or did you think at that point your night was over?
After getting punted, I thought it was basically hold on the outside and salvage what I could, right? I was looking at probably a P3 or a P4 at that point, which is unfortunate, but still would have been okay. But they went off in the corner, and all I saw was a bunch of sideways cars, and I went as high as I could.
Well, you went as high as you could. You came back around here as the winner tonight. How hard was it, though? Not just here in the late model, but also back in the street stock, because you pick up both wins. Where are you going out after this one?
I don't know. I might have to take a trip back up to Virginia, another vacation or something, with all this extra winnings I'm getting. But no, it was a hard race. It reminds me a lot of the Cars Tour races in real life, where you only got one set of tires in these cars, and you got to save them. For the first about 105, 110 laps, it was all about riding and trying to conserve. And after that, and we let the fuse and started going, and we were able to pull a pretty good lead there before the caution came out. I think with like 20 to go, and that was kind of unfortunate. We knew it was going to be kind of hard. Kind of played our hand and ran out. Ran out about 3 seconds ahead of the field, and that was our plan. And the caution was not. So after that, it was kind of a poker game at that point.
Yeah, you're going to have enough money now to go play in the poker game, because I think if my quick math here in Pennsylvania, sometimes we have to take our shoes off to do that. But I think you're going to walk away out of tonight with a cool 250. Is that going right back into the sim rig here?
Right now, it might just go into membership fees. Sim rig's doing all right for now, so maybe just get some new memberships, and we'll go from there.
Well, James, it's been a pleasure speaking with you here in our Pure Year Victory Lane as you win the Barber Ford's late model. Once again, the red carpet is yours, my friend. The microphone is also who makes it all possible back there in the shop for this 51.
Yeah, I mean, we pulled out the setup from the official series last season, 2020 or 2021 season 1. Quite loose after about 100, so we had to tinker on it, and the guys accelerated, Cockling and Bill Daniel Williamson. We wrenched on her until we got it good. And like I said, then it was just about saving, because it didn't matter how much you wrenched on it, you still had to hold that right rear on the car. So at the end of the day, it was a combination of good setup and good friends and a little bit of good driver.
There you hear it from your winner tonight. He drives the number 51. His name is James Curl, and he picks up not only the win in our street stock portion for the left turn promotion street stock event, he also picks up the Barber Ford late model win here tonight. He will be celebrating, well, he's down in Wilston, Florida, so he's got some beaches nearby he could go visit, and I'm sure Al pick up a couple pina coladas like you like.
Yeah, what a great race there, and it's interesting, to sit there and watching, the last lap where we watched the replay there, just playing over and over in my mind up here as we just look at an empty racetrack now as the cars are down on pit road and the security guards are, in full force down on pit road, avoiding some of those fisticuffs. But talking about, those last couple laps there, like Curl said, he goes, I knew it was going to happen, but I just braced myself, and he just stayed out of the trouble. And that is what, ended up staying. He could have really tried to block Lapovich up in the turn number 3 when the contact was made. Instead, he kind of just went up the racetrack, kind of kissed the outside concrete barrier there, and came down and knew that maybe something wilder was going to happen. And, well, he capitalized on those thoughts and was able to stay out of that big trouble off of turn number 2 there. But, Dave, at the end of the night, we saw a great race, 200 laps of action here at the South Boston Speedway for the Barber Ford late models division in the SOBO 300. What are your takeaways? We know that you, not so much of a short track guy, and we would like to welcome you. And me and Roger have been covering a lot of short track racing throughout this 2020-21 season. What was your takeaways from this race here tonight?
Well, a few things I'm impressed with here tonight is the amount of tire management that these drivers had here tonight. The skill, the dedication to keep that right rear on the car here. 200 laps, same set of tires there. The lap times from the quick time of the race all the way to just before we had those rash cautions there late in the run, just a half a second on the speed charts. So all the drivers throughout the field were right around that half a second. I believe the biggest loss was right at a second. So all the drivers doing one heck of a job keeping the tires on the rear end of these machines, but also impressed with Corey Dunn. Didn't walk away with quite the finish that maybe you would have liked to, actually outside of the top 15 after that last lap melee during the green-white checkered, but up still, I believe it's 13 positions. So really impressed on how he was able to make his way up through the field so methodically and calm. But there with that last lap melee, Roger, he's seen one driver put the bumper to the driver in front of him. And then, he kind of thought, well, why not me? Why not me for the top spot? And unfortunately, didn't quite work out for him.
Yeah, but that's just short track racing action is what they tell me. But Boy, what a race we had here at the South Boston Speedway tonight for our Barber Ford late model stock portion of this event. It was one heck of a race, and we got to thank Barber Ford for one, being the sponsor here for this portion of the race. We also got to thank Apex Racing for coming on board, the American iRacing League, Accelerated Motorsports, of course, James Curl picking up that award here tonight. We got to thank the guys over at BK Paints. They're going to be handing out a Best Looking Car award here, and somebody else is going to get a personalized BK Paints paint job. We got to thank DWR Designs. Of course, Rocket Racing Setup. One of their setups just went to Victory Lane. Eddie's Performance Solutions. The iRacing Short Track eSports Series. We got to thank Max Pappas Innovations. They make great wheels over there at MPI. And of course, Reaper Speed Labs. One of their drivers finishing on the podium here tonight, Trayton Lapsovich. The State Building Co. 60 years plus in the building service. And of course, 09 Race Shop. And of course, our sponsor that helped us put on this event all weekend long here from the South Boston Speedway virtually, we got to thank Swag. We got to really thank Billy Smith over there, as it's actually his birthday. He could not attend this event. He really wanted to, but unfortunately, I should say fortunately, he's out there at the racetrack right now with his daughter, getting her Bandolero set up and ready to go for the 2021 season. So we got to thank Billy and his whole crew over there at Swag. But boys, it's towards the end of this race here. Let's take a quick look here at our finishing results. These are, of course, your unofficial results here tonight from the South Boston Speedway. James Curl, you heard from him. He was the winner. Aaron's going to rally, and he will actually finish in that second position. Trayton Lapsovich is third with Daniel Williamson in fourth. Colby Bryant will finish in fifth with Tony McGuire in the sixth position. Seventh will go to Corey Dunn. It's not where he wants to finish, but unfortunately that's where he crosses the start-finish line. Scott Lamp is back there running in the eighth position. Jonathan Hall is ninth, and Nick Reberg rounds out the top 10. Take a quick look at the rest of our running order here tonight, race fans, because it's been a long one. It's been a great one, and we got to thank you first and foremost for tuning in here tonight to watch the Barber Ford late model stock event brought to us by our friends over at Swag. For everybody at Swag, for everybody at Barber Ford, and all of our other sponsors behind the scenes, race fans, I'm Roger Muth with the Turn 3 Racing Network. That's Al Smith Jr. and David Worrell. We thank you for tuning in here tonight to watch this event. We hope you enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see you all at the races.